Okay, we are recording. Today is the video. Through the scientific method, I can show you the truth that God is real. Period. It's in each and every one of us, this truth. I'm going to go over it today. Please stick with me. If you ever want, well, is God, why would God, we're going to go over it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to, it's about understanding the truth through the scientific method, reproducible results over and over and again, you can come up with the same truth, the same understanding, the same results. Scientific method, the truth that God is real. Okay, through the scientific method, we can do what are known as experiments. Schrodinger's cat is a scientific thought experiment. I could do a scientific experiment where when I do that, that's the aliens trying to adjust my voice. I can do a scientific thought experiment to say, hey, if I have 4 apples and you take 2 of those apples away, how many do I have left? I don't physically have to have the apples in front of me. We can do that experiment and we can do it over and over and over again. And what happens? You come up with the same result. If you have 4 apples and you take 2 away, you're left with 2 apples. Okay, so we can do thought experiments in life. That is what we're going to do here. The truth is God is real. The truth is we're going through multiple lifetimes. Hang on, and I'm going to show you through the scientific method. Over and over, we can come up with the same results. The only caveat is you have to be honest with yourself. I can't make you be honest. I don't want to make you do anything. I want to hopefully help you understand. Then you can make informed decisions with the information. Okay, but I can show you, and that's what I'm going to do today. So if it goes a little long, let's just bear with it and push through. How valuable is this information? This is how we change the planet. So I'm going to put my glasses on. I have some notes over here that I'll be looking at every here and there. But these are understandings I was gifted with. You have to understand, I shot myself in the head in 2004, willing to die rather than to submit. The voice in my head was torturing me to try to take me over. Submit, submit, submit. Screaming in my head. Horrible times. Nobody communicates about the truth that the voice in your head is real. One, they're not supposed to take you over. The 2 eyelight zone, there is a 2 eyelight zone that teaches us, I think it's called the piano in the room, that they can affect your personality. They can sort of, I'll call it the Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost. She was a medium, right, in between you and that other person. They're using you as the in between, that medium. So that they can do that, talk through you, right? That kind of stuff. A sidekick is also known as a sidekick. At a level of innocence, you just have these abilities. At an understanding level, you understand what a sidekick is. You do what they say and they help you in life. I'm not saying there's anything wrong. They can help you make decisions. I don't personally recommend psychics myself, but sometimes we'll just say that it's not a bad thing to have, we'll just say it's not a bad thing. Not the video today, but I don't want to beat up on psychics. Okay, but that stuff exists in a reality. So we're going to focus in on the truth that God is real. I did want to say I shot myself in the head, willing to die rather than to submit. Didn't want them taking over my body to do evil. I was called a king. You're a king, you're a king. I have no idea what that means. The best I have understanding towards is I did something that nobody else wants to do. Shot myself in the head with a .38 caliber bullet. That was in November of 2004, out of the hospital in early December of 2005. So November of 2004, shot myself in the head, out of the hospital in 2005. They said, you're a king, you're a king. Well, I don't know officially what that means, but again, I think in this life, the aliens have told me, you do for us, we'll do for you. Just call us master. I told them God is my master, love is my master. Short story, there's a longer version there, but so the short story is, if you do for them, they'll help you. And if you're at a king level, they will work on other people to be accepting of what you desire. And they do that at small micro levels. The scuttlebutt was Trump got shot in the ear. They synchronized that. He turned his head at the same time as the shooter. Not to beat up Trump, they wanted him in place. And to get him to that level of a king, even above where I'm at. Now, I say this with all humility. Anyway, that's the scuttlebutt, is that he was shot in the ear, which is not bone in the head, for that reason. To get at a certain king level above where I have my scar. I chose God, I chose love, and there's a definite level of respect towards that. I can only speak for myself, and I only speak for myself when I say this, but I chose the right path. I chose God, I chose love. I have no problem saying that I chose the right path. And that is respected on this planet, even by the aliens, the levels above. And that was street cred. So instead of me wanting to force my will upon each other on the other humans on this planet, doing for the voice in my head whatever they want so they'll do for me, instead of taking that road, I wanted to help the planet in the name of love. I was gifted with amazing understandings to help end war, poverty, starvation, to transition the human out of the econ on me, pulling world governments and world religions together. That's the information I was gifted with. And it's a struggle. I battle with the aliens. I battle with the voice in my head. Those aliens, it's a struggle, and it hurts. I'm gonna turn the air conditioner on. It's getting a little hot in here. They want me a little uncomfortable. So I apologize for the noise if it is too much. With that said, I chose to take the loving route where I'm not looking to force information on people. I want to help them understand a truth. The truth. God is real. And I was gifted with understandings. I know God is real. I don't have to have faith. Faith is when you don't truly know. I know God is real. And I can help you today through the scientific method understand this. It's going to go, I can already tell this video is going to go long. But what's that value? Come back to it every here and there if you have to break it up into chunks. The aliens might be working on you to feel like crap as you watch the video. Be all itchy or stomach pains or whatever they're doing. Hopefully they're doing the right thing and allowing you to watch it. They're making me hot right now already. I'm taking some caffeine right here. Okay, so we're going to do a thought experiment. The best I can help you understand. See, it's now, I have an understanding. I don't have to have faith. I know God is real. It's the truth. God is love, first of all. Love is the driving force in the universe. Even that, it might be that you love your car, right? It came with a steering wheel, but was it that cherry wood? It came with a hood, but was it carbon fiber? It had rims on it, brand new car. But were they chromed out cherry rims, right? Nice Daytons or whatever the chrome nice rims are nowadays. We love something. And we sacrifice our finances to make sure that it's taken care of. Look, you don't put 87 octane in there. You put the 93. Look, you go get the sodas, I'll pump the gas, right? You tell your buddy. It's a baseball card, right? Dude, you're getting your hand oils all over it. Sorry for yelling at you last week. I bought a UV box. You can come take the card outside. We all love something, and we sacrifice our earnings, our hard-earned money, to make sure that their requirements are taken care of. Hopefully when you have children, it transitions to that. But we're children having children. One of the most horrible things on this planet, as us as human, that we don't even understand, is we're overpopulating like locusts. And they'll tell you, oh, but we're having a population collapse. That's only for the city, the system that we're in. The system that we're in, we based it on an econ on me, the core that the poor ate corporate, when you understand that word. These are videos I've made and they go over. We were caveman baby poor, didn't understand. But I want to focus in on God is love. Everybody loves something. It's the driving force of the universe. Even the Bible says, it's not money that's evil, it's the love of money. to buy what the bull has to offer, right? There's a cow alien race known as cow words. The limb of the moo, right? That's your arm, a moo's limb. We're all praying to the same God. Cow, bull, law, Kabula, the holy cow in Hindu. God is real. Religion, it's designed to separate us because we're overpopulating like locusts. You have to remember, war is a form of population control. They germed many in germ many. Germany used to have a perfectly good name called Russia, Prussia. They had a perfectly good name, but they had to change it to germ many so that when this information does come out, we understand that, wow, we had to have a culling, right? A thinning of the herd. We were overpopulating like, that was World War II. Tragic. I mean, imagine how there were 400,000 Americans that died in World War I. Oh my God, imagine 400,000 people dying. Now that's a big number. Nothing compared to Germany. They were so overpopulated. 8 billion, right? We lost 400,000. Did I say billion? 8 million, okay? 8 million humans in Germany. Huge number. 400,000 America, huge, horrible. 8 million in Germany. They were overpopulated. They were used to thin the rest of the herd. A staggering 26 million Russians were killed in World War II. These are rough numbers. Do your research. We're overpopulating like locusts. Starvation takes about 3 weeks. You think food prices are expensive today, right? Imagine we never had war, and those kids who died in war, 18, 20, 26 was the average age in World War II, 19 in Vietnam. Those people that never had children, whose children never had children, whose children never had children. Look just at your grandparents. How many offspring came from that? Your cousins and your parents and your aunts and uncles. What's that? And then your children. What's that number? And that's just in your little group right there. We're overpopulating like locusts. Religion is used to separate. We're all praying to the same God to buy what the bull has to offer, a calf. A baby cow is a calf lick. The limb of the moo is the moo's limb. We're not to worship the golden cow. We're not to worship the golden cow, right? The golden calf. That has nothing to do with calf lick, right? They're teaching you how to pray to God. God-bred truths in all these books and loving texts that help you nurture a relationship with God. Never give them up. You just pick through the bad things, push that off to the side. It's designed to teach us. Roman legion of soldiers, right? Followers of Rome. They were, don't loot your soul, and soul loot, the voice in your head when they ask you to break the golden rule, not the video today. But soldiers, don't, Roman legion of soldiers. Legion means followers, a number of followers, a certain number, it varies. Ra, Egyptian sun god, legions, that is a dual purpose word meaning God and those that are worshipped as gods. I know I'm going long here, this is gonna be long, but I'm trying to help you understand God is real. But they've separated you through religion for a reason, to thin the herd. We're overpopulating like locusts. We have to start talking the truth about that the voice in our head is real. You have your awakening by the time you're 30, the kids underneath that, they don't know. And we're taking advantage of them by not teaching them. It's called, another video, I go over the quid ditch. The econ on me talks about the con of the money system. So does quid in England, ditch. And the keepers of the secret are blocking the coup awful, the overthrowing of awful things when we keep their secret. Be golden snitches. Quick on that. Talk about it to help in the name of love, not to tell people you don't know who's behind my eye, right? Be a golden snitch and teach in the name of love to help. Okay, let's just start going into the truth that God is real through the scientific method. We're talking reproducible results over and over and over again that you can do your own experiment. Thought experiment, Schrodinger's cat, thought experiment. If you have 4 apples and you take 2 away, You're going to have 2 apples. You don't have to physically have the apples sitting in front of you to do the thought experiment. Okay, everything on this planet, everything has a lineage. Science doesn't like to talk about anything they can't put under a microscope or behind a telescope, right? They want to see it, they want to touch it. You don't always have to do a scientific experiment. Where does a tree come from? Oh, it's seed. The other tree, the papa tree, dropped a seed. Babies, humans, we come from a seed, sperm. This is a lineage. We can trace it back, genealogy. Every time we go further and further back, everything that you see has a genealogy, whether it be plastic or metal, a car. You can say, well, these minerals, elements were mined, combined, formed into something. Everything has a lineage. We can trace it back. Let's trace it back to where science likes to stop it, right? The Big Bang. Well, where did that come from? This is where we have to start from. There's other things we use to the thought experiment. You'll hear things about the pre-Big Bang. Great, I'd love to hear that because you get it. Let's just squish all that into one thing. Where did the Big Bang come from, right? Pre-Big Bang, all the pre-Big Bangs you want to say. We're talking about this dense ball of matter that exploded out, that formed the physical universe. You got to remember that the physical universe isn't the only. Some people say, oh, it's a hologram. We're in a matrix. Well, the aliens can affect certain things. They can puppet our thoughts, our desires. You're hearing things about Matrix, the hologram universe. I'm not saying it is, it isn't, but I'll tell you what, this physical is a temporary as we become spiritual. So if some people are getting to see the different understandings of why we're in this physical, or that, hey, that physical just glitched. A comprehension just glitched. They used to call it Berenstein Bears, and now it's called something else. These kind of glitches that people see in the Matrix, we'll say. Well, this physical is a created spot for us to learn. I'm going to try to get you the best I can. Well, first, see, there's so much information I want to give you. So much information. That word itself teaches. Let's go back to the Big Bang. Where did that come from? Everything in this universe has a lineage. You have to understand this, something created itself from nothing. How many things do you think? In genealogy, there are traits and characteristics that, you have blonde hair, your parents had blonde hair. There are certain traits that are passed down. If this universe exploded into existence, and that was our father, our mother of the universe, I happen to believe that other things would be oh, look at that baby. It's still smoking. It just exploded into the universe. I happen to think that would be something that's very common in the beginning of origin of life. We have to look at the Big Bang. And everything before that, pre-Big Bang. Great. Where did stop it at we're going to squish all that pre-Big Bang into the Big Bang. Where did that come from? This question that we don't ask ourselves. This is the thought experiment where we begin it. We understand that everything has a genealogy, a lineage. That everything has traits, and we can say, okay, yeah, that's an evergreen tree. Its seed is going to be an evergreen. There are traits that we pass down. This thing exploded into existence, creating itself from nothing. One, let's just start from there. Have you ever known anything to create itself from nothing? So that's where we start. If you ever find one thing in this universe that has created itself from nothing, let's call it for right now the Big Bang. That's a godlike thing to do, to create yourself from nothing. A very godlike thing to do. Now, I believe God created the Big Bang for us to grow in the physical so we can bring children in behind us. We're going through multiple lives picking up these lessons of love. It's beyond belief. I know this to be a truth. And when we start focusing in, we know that this physical either created itself from nothing, which is a very godlike thing to do, or was created by something that created itself from nothing. The more and more you take it back, well, where did God come from? There's two answers, and I would love to hear a third. Created itself from nothing, a very godlike thing to do, or the other very godlike thing to do is have always existed. That gets your eyeballs clacking each other. Have always existed. We understand forever. That's a continuation. Always, when did that start? No, it never started. It always existed. To have always existed, imagine that. It's pretty challenging when you truly and honestly look at it. When does always start? It never started. To have always existed or created itself from nothing. So we have to start here. We have to start with this truth, scientific method, reproducible results. Where did the Big Bang come from? Where did that egg, the chicken or the egg, right? One of those two created itself from nothing, right? Calling the Big Bang the chicken or the egg. I don't care if you want to say we evolved, evolution. Well, God created the physical universe. I don't want to confuse people right now. What I want to say is something created itself from nothing. There is an origin point where something exploded into existence. We call it the physical Big Bang. Now that's in the physical. Oh, when you get it, and hopefully you're starting to see it, we have, I just pray to God that I can get to the point across. Religion is not God. Religion is used to keep you separated. They teach you a truth about God. God is love. And I love religion for that. They help you nurture a relationship with God. They're separating you so that we can thin the herd if we have to. What I'm working on is the information that I was gifted from many, many levels above, the little aliens who are running your planet. Rule number one, you don't give submit your human. I never submitted. Rule number two, don't give your human any information that you can't expect to be kept quiet if you wanted to. I talk about the things they don't want talked about. That's not this video today. This video today is the truth, through the scientific method, reproducible results. We're at the beginning. Where did the Big Bang come from? It either created itself from nothing or has always existed. How do you qualify always? Where does that start? It doesn't start. It always existed. That's another very godlike thing to do. Not very godlike, that's godlike. If you know something that has always existed, never had a beginning, that's godlike. If you know of something that created itself from nothing, that's godlike. Okay, so one of these two answers are true. I would love to hear any kind of third, right? Where the Big Bang come from. Now let's just call God the Big Bang for a moment. It created itself from nothing or has always existed. That's the starting point. Where did it come from? How did it create itself from nothing? Have you ever seen anything else in this physical universe create itself from nothing? Or have always existed? Now let's look at the word always. Say you're in a new town and you want to find the mailbox, drop a postcard to somebody. Postcard. Okay, so anyway, you see an officer, you say, sir, how do I get to the post office? You know, you go this way on First, and then you go that way on Main Street, you'll find it on the left. This way and that way. When you take a pebble and you throw it into the water, in which way do the waves come out? In all ways. Now, one of my theories is created itself from nothing and always are the same thing. Both are godlike things when you look at it, but the word folds back on itself. Always, where does that start from? I'm sorry. Always, it speaks on an origin part. The aliens, they don't want it to come across eloquent. Always speaks on an origin point, and then in always out. They travel. So it speaks on this origin point, right? In always. Okay. So always existed or created itself from nothing, you can almost say are the same thing, even if you want to separate those two into two separate things. Always, when does that start? Okay. That's the first part of understanding the truth that God is real. There's nothing in this universe, nothing that creates itself from nothing except God. We hear the word supernatural thrown around. Oh, this is supernatural. There's only one thing above nature. Everything else is natural. What do you mean? Alien magic? They can float something around the room. Ooh, look at it float. I can do that with magnets. They understand tech a little bit easier. They go, what? It's a miracle. The aliens. There's a reason why we're told not to worship the golden calf. And that's because they can do things like LASIK in your eyeball. You watch the movie Paul, right? That little alien. That little bird was paralyzed. It wasn't dead, by the way. But anyway, he can heal that little bird. Phenom has some interesting things in it. Phenomenon, John Travolta movie. There are those that can do some interesting things. But there's only one that created itself from nothing. There's alien tech, right? Be able to do things that look magic or supernatural. We throw that word around. There's only one thing above nature having created itself from nothing or having always existed. That is God. So we have to start qualifying what we say. It's through us honest. You have to be truthful with yourself. We start with, where did the Big Bang come from? That is the truth. We start from there. Then we start, so we know something created itself from nothing or has always existed. Okay. Grab that, hold it, put it to your heart, ask yourself that question over and over again. Something created itself from nothing. That's a godlike thing. You have to be honest with yourself. I'm not here to force you to accept anything. So that's the physical universe. Now we start looking at the qualities, the trait that is the driving force in the universe. It's love. We all love something. Like I said, it might be a baseball card. Dude, why are you holding it? I told you you put the white gloves on. You can't just get your hand oils all over the Honus Wagner baseball card. Call them up. Sorry for yelling at you last week, bro. I got the UV box. We can take it outside. Come on over, right? We love something and we sacrifice our hard-earned money to take care of it. Hopefully when you have kids, it changes to children to take care of them. But we're kids having kids, and that's the truth. We don't raise our children. We go off and try to afford them because we live in an econ on me. I can show you how to transition out of it. And that's what I was gifted with. Today's video is God is Real. Please send it out to somebody, get it into the algorithm as you can, however you can. I hate to ask, but please do. We know God is real. Now, what is the quality and the trait of everything we see? When we have children, we sacrifice for those children. When you were a young kid, you used to battle for that last piece of pizza, right? Mom, there's no. You would fight over it. Feats of strength. Okay, boy, we're going to have feats of strength for this last piece of pizza. Don't do that to the kids. Cut it in half. Let them each have a half. But you used to fight over it. Now, if your little one, right, still wants a piece of that pizza, you'll sacrifice your piece of pizza to give it to her. Maybe take a bite out of it, right? It's pizza. Here you go, sweetie. It's yours. We sacrifice for the kids. You were going to get the golf clubs, the Big Bertha. Somebody requires braces, some cleats. Somebody wants to take dance class. Maybe needs a tutor. Well, you sacrifice and maybe you go to the thrift store, see what kind of golf clubs they got there. We sacrifice for the kids, even in nature. We see ants will die for the colony. They'll drag out an infected ant. Bees will die for the hive. I mean, we're going through multiple lives. You can see that dogs have emotion. Watch videos. We used to think we were the only ones with a soul. We're learning how to love, even at an ant level. It's driving off to work. You see it driving off to work on the highway or walking down that busy street like we do. When they find food, they go back and forth. What do? We go back and forth to get money for food and then come back. You see the highways. It's this fractalness that exists in the universe. Is he saying that insects have souls? Yes. you would be surprised at how many different insect alien races there are. You've heard of mantis, right? Mothra is someone you may not have heard of. I can rattle off 50 different alien races. That's not the video today, but the moth, the worm, that's why we call it the wormhole, dragonfly. There's multiple different alien races. Cricket. Anyway, not in my video today. Multiple different alien races. Beetlejuice. All right? There's a reason why that band, the Beatles, made it. Okay. Never fear, they're just a little different. God's children, a little different. So we used to think we're the only ones with souls, right? Not those soulless chimpanzees. Those dogs can't have a soul. You've seen the dog. It chewed up the shoe. It knew it did wrong by you, right? We're growing. We're going through multiple levels. Now, as I like to say, I'm a pacifist. I pass on the fists. I do reserve the right to defend myself if attacked. I don't want to have to. I could harm people. I don't want to have to. I would rather we communicate. I know we can work it out. But I reserve the right to defend myself if attacked. When there's an ant or two, do what you do. But when it's an infestation, right? They're in the cupboards, they're in there, you're concerned about disease, then you deal with it. So there's what's the loving thing to do? I'm going off on different tangents here, but I want you to understand we're going through multiple lifetimes, picking up these lessons of love, learning to take care of the puppies. You've seen the mom dog, right? The dad dog just wants to come take a look at the new puppies, and mom's like, "Argh!" And the dad dog's a big old mean-looking dad dog. Sorry, I just wanted to see the puppies. We are learning to take care of and nurture at multiple levels. You see the bird, right? Nemo. Mine, 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 mine. They're fighting over that. They're going to get it. And then what does it do? It flies home and takes it to the little babies in the nest. It'll battle tooth and nail for that last piece of pizza, and then it'll go give it to the baby. We're learning how to love through multiple lifetimes. Again, these are new concepts for people to understand. I'm going to talk about, well, why don't I remember that? And that there is a word for that. They teach us through words, and that's another thing about this channel. I call it a channel, but it's about the information I was gifted with on how to end war, poverty, starvation. You hear me talk about the econ on me, the word philosophy, right? We feel this separation from God. We perceive it because this world is based on the econ on me. It's not based about nurturing love. It's based on getting over on each other so you can feed your family. That little bit of love shown right there. But it's not based on nurturing. We go off and try to afford our children. We don't raise them. The media raises them. The aliens raise them. We're trying to fill this loss that we feel, this separation from God. And it's a fee. There's a price to be paid if we don't base it on love. And that's, filling a loss that we feel. But there's a price to be paid if we don't base it on love. Fill loss. And there is a fee if we don't base it on love. If we base it on stuff and if we think that military is going to save us, or AI. It's not AI. Don't ever forget that. Tech, pro-tech-shun. Professional tech shun. Tech, Nick, ill. Nick is not a good thing. It's a younger. You see the guys in Battle After Battle. Hail St. Nick. Right? I started laughing because I talk about the Nick list. St. Nick, the one who gets you to lie to your children and then takes all the credit. Wow, Papa, do you think Santa liked his cookies? Santa's great. And you were up all night, bloody-knuckled from putting the bike together, and you spent all your hard-earned money. Who gets the praise? Santa. The one who gets you to lie to your children and then takes all the credit. Nick is Arawa. Nicaragua. That's not just spotlight on one single area of the planet. That's all the voice in our head when we do for them to get results. We have to start talking about it. All hail Nick, right? They say, and I was like, whoever put that together, they either knew or they didn't know, but somebody the voice in their head told them, because this is going to come out, these understandings. Is if everybody picks Nick, right, a picnic, you get to relax. The kids have to do all the work, and that's what the humans are doing right now who have had their awakening and keeping the secret. You're on a picnic and making the kids work. Your parents did it to you. Kids, don't be upset. We're going to make it through. But my God, we have to get this information out to help the children. You hear me say, it's for the children, Vince, right? Yeah, Vince, that was a little light, right? We have to give. We got to dig a little deeper on where we can. All right. and you might be where I can only do, then that's where you come from. God is real. We know God is real, created itself from nothing, having always existed. Now, what is the direction that everything is growing? It's love. The dog that will protect its babies, the ants that will go back and feed the colony, the bee that will die for the hive. We're going through these multiple lifetimes, and everything is growing in love. Even how we kill each other in war, we have grown in love. Geneva Convention things, right? Things that are inhumane to each other. Another word for unloving. We now will say, nope, that's unloving to do to each other. We can't do that anymore. Even how we've grown in love, in how we kill each other in war. Amazing. You can see the overarching direction. Now that's with a bridle in our mouth riding us like a human pony that the aliens have helped us. But they have helped us. I fight for their day of amnesty because there's nasty stuff they've done. Amnasty. The stuff they've done to us. Am very nasty. So, but they've helped us. Sometimes you break a few eggs to make that omelet. We can drill a hole maybe into it a little bit better and pour the egg out, scramble it inside of it. We don't have to break the egg as much. We can do it better. And I want to go over the refining of the universe. This video has already gone long. Check the refining of the universe video. I'll make that another video. I hope you can understand that God is real. We're going through multiple lifetimes picking up these lessons of love. And just a quick understanding in the refining of the universe. Imagine drawing this big circle and we're at this younger level in the pyramid of flesh and bone, which is part of it, multiple levels. I probably shouldn't go over this right now. But as we go through these lifetimes, we're growing and we're learning these lessons of love. It's a big circle and then you never really complete the circle, right? You die in the physical, and then you're born again in your next baby body. And so you draw the circle a little bit tighter inside, right? And then finally at the end, it's just spinning around. Bing! That center is universal heaven. A fun, creative place where all of our thoughts and desires are complementary to each other. A place where we will have learned all the lessons of love and are now exercising our freedom of will lovingly with amazing abilities and creativity. Why does God allow this to happen? We're gifted with the freedom of will. We're learning how to use it lovingly. That is so important to remember. We can end starvation. We can feed everybody. We know how to agriculture. We can feed everybody on this planet. Why don't we? The aliens don't allow it at this time because then you overpopulate and then you're going to have to kill in war. I speak for myself in this area. I don't want to point finger at anybody. But when you feed them, they're going to overpopulate until you teach them don't have intercourse unless you want to put a baby in her course. This is all connected. The thought experiment. God in heaven, I pray that you take that away. That's what today's video was, and I can go so long into different things. Something created itself from nothing or has always existed. You start from there. Then what is the direction that we're traveling in? In love. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Something created itself from nothing. That's the only thing that's supernatural, above nature. And if that was the beginning and the only, things would be exploding into existence all the time. God created the Big Bang. But let's go ahead and call the Big Bang God for right now. The other thing is it could have always existed, right? Those are the two things. Where did the Big Bang come from? Well, created itself from nothing. Or has always existed. Always. How do you qualify that? Forever, we understand it continues, a continuation. Forever, when did that start? I'm sorry, for always, to have always existed, when did that start? Always? It never started. What do you mean, always? Yeah, it always existed. It never started because it always existed. Another very godlike thing to do, having always existed, we know that this physical universe decays atomically. Huge clue. I'm glad I touched on that one. That wasn't in my notes. Speaking of notes, we have an atomic decay. We understand that they say it's a heat loss, right? You could say it that way. Some people have phrased it as a loss of heat. We're growing colder and colder and colder in the physical universe. It's not how we're doing in the abilities of our a sentient being, we're loving our children. We're growing in love. We're more trying to take care of each other through medical. We didn't stop the advancing of medical, right? We're wanting to do that to help each other. We're growing in love. God created the Big Bang. But even if you want to call the Big Bang God, we know something created itself from nothing or has always existed. I'd love to hear a third answer. I've only got two, and that's the thought experiment. If you're honest with yourself, something created itself from nothing or having always existed, and what's the direction that everything is going? It's moving forward in love. As crappy as it might seem on this planet right now, boil it down to if you had, right? If you had enough food, water, money, all the stuff that the econ on me wants you to have, and imagine your neighbor did and your other neighbor, would you be fighting that often when you all have enough? See, the econ on what you have to understand is community. I'm going to give you this word. What does community mean? It means calm and unity between people. And you can't have that without equality. And the econ on me does not afford you an equality. The econ on me was a baby bottle system motivated to teach us how to survive. We now know how to survive so well that we can't afford it. We take 3 steps forward, take 2 steps back. We now take benefit from the things we've learned. And we free up some intellectual property. That's how we change this planet and we start growing this physical universe out in love. It's not the end result. Watch the video Refining of the Universe is going to be the next one I'm going to make. But I'm sure this one's gone long and it's probably challenging for people to watch. Thank you. Love all, not all they do. Peace be with you. Thank you.